Hey Haunters, it's Steve. So I actually forgot to film this intro before I put everything away. The power went out because there was a thunderstorm and it was like a whole thing. So I'm filming the intro afterwards. But today I'm back with a brand new project. So you can't see it in this video, but today we are going to be making a Leering gravestone popper guy. I don't really know what to call him, but his head turns back and forth and he looks super cool. The mechanism came out really smooth. I'm not an engineer, so I like to throw things together, and I have no metalworking skills, but I always end up making something that works, and today I did the same thing. So let's get started. Alright everyone, let's get into this build. So today we're making our Leering grave popper. So I started out with a store-bought hanging prop that I got at Ruby's Costume Company, and I started by removing the head and then cutting the fabric off. So we got the head separate, and we're going to use that for later. Then I'm going to take some pieces of wood for the base, and I'm just going to mark where I want to cut them. I just estimated based on the size of my tombstone, and then I'm going to cut them out with a handsaw. And then I'm going to mark on the base where I want the center support to be, and I'm going to mark 2 holes for some pilot holes that I'll drill later. But first I want to attach 2 angle brackets to either side just to give it some extra strength, because this is going to support the weight of the entire prop, so I just want it to be really strong. And now I'm going to be drilling my pilot holes for the base, and then we're taking that piece with the angle brackets and attaching it to the base in that little outline that we drew. And then I'll be taking 2 extra long screws and just screwing them through the bottom so that they go through our center support. And I'm just going to finish attaching the brackets. Now I'm going to cut off a chunk of PVC pipe, and I want it to be as tall as the tombstone but a little bit taller to accommodate for the head. And then we're going to be using hot glue, and I'm going to attach a ping pong ball to the bottom of it, and that's going to make a pivot point. This is going to be the center axle, so to speak, so it's going to need to rotate easily, so I use a ping pong ball for that. And then I'm just securing it with some duct tape while the glue is still warm to hopefully make everything melt together and stay still. And then I'm going to be cutting some metal straps to use to hold our PVC on our vertical support. And then I'll just be screwing those in one side at a time. And then I'm going to stand up our PVC support and then wrap them around just so I could get a feel for what position I want them to be in. And then I'm just screwing in the other side to lock it into place. And now I'm just hammering down the jagged edges because I will definitely cut myself. And now I'm going to be using a zip tie as a spacer to keep some space between the rotating axle and the wood. And now I'm just going to mark where our support for our motor is going to be so I can drill some pilot holes, which I went ahead and did already. And I'm just clamping it onto the base, and then I'm going to drill 2 long screws in through the bottom to hold that little block on. And here we have our motor from a reindeer. I took out the screws that came with it and put in some longer screws so we can drill it into place. And then I also took out the piece that went inside the arm and put some washers and a screw on there, and that's going to hold on our new PVC arm. And I'm just going to screw that into place by hand just because I don't want to over tighten it and crack the enclosure. And now I'm just going to zip tie an angle bracket onto a piece of PVC to hold it into place so I can drill some holes. And then I'll be taking a long nut and a locking washer and attaching it on there with some pliers and a screwdriver just so it'll stay put and it'll keep a strong connection. And I'm going to mark 2 spots on our axle for some pilot holes. And then I'm just going to cut the arm so it's a little bit shorter because I used a really long piece. And then I'm going to attach it to our axle with some really heavy duty wood screws. And then I'm taking a piece of PVC, and at an angle I'm going to be cutting off the 2, I guess, corners you could say. And I'm also going to drill a hole through the center. And this is going to be crucial for the movement of the prop. And now I'm taking the screw and the washers that were on our arm off, and I'm just going to put the new arm that we created back on. So I'm using 2 washers on the bottom and 1 on top. And I'm making it tight enough so that it doesn't go anywhere, but it also has room to move freely. And then I'm drilling a hole through the arm that we had attached to the axle before. And then I'm going to use a piece of picture frame hanging wire, and I'm going to slide it through the 2 holes, and then I'm just going to twist it so it doesn't come undone. And this will actually be really strong, but it'll also be flexible, which is critical for our final prop motion. So as you can see, the motor moves that attached arm back and forth, which pushes and pulls the short arm that's attached to the axle. So as the motor spins circularly, it spins the axle horizontally. So that's going to create our head turning motion. So I went ahead and attached the head off camera. All I did was kind of plop it on top of the PVC, and then I zip tied the fabric underneath, and then I pulled it down so that the head would be taut. So it actually creates a strong enough connection that when the pipe turns, that the head will turn also. And it'll also make it fairly easy to remove the head if I need to change it out or if I need to store the prop. And now we're going to go ahead and attach the arms. So I turned the head around so that it's facing the opposite way that it was in the last clip. And then the arms have this strange metal bar that the head used to be attached to. So it's like a giant U. So we're going to be using that U to our advantage. But first I'm just trying to position it the way that I want to. And then I'll be using a drywall screw with a washer going through it to hold it in place. And then I'll be doing a second one, so here you can get a better look. And then that's going to hold it into place, and then we'll just be able to bend the arms any way that we want. And then we're going to go ahead and cut off all the extra fabric so it doesn't get caught in our motor, because that has definitely been a problem for me in the past. But I still want some fabric so it can hang off of the arms. And then I'm just going to do some work to kind of bend the arms in a way that makes it look like he has shoulders, so he's not just a head and some arms. And it looked okay, and then I figured out I had to bend them back more, and then it looked a little more convincing. And then I'm just going to position the arms so they look good by our tombstone, and that's basically the finished prop. At the last minute I decided I want to fill him out some more, so I went ahead and zip tied the arms just so they're not going to move out of the position. And then I took an extra piece of fabric and I'm just draping it over his shoulders to give the illusion that he has like a torso. And that's about it. And that's the finished prop. I really love how this build came out. He's actually one of the largest tombstone poppers that I've made so far. I have 2 others that each have different movements, but I think this one might be my favorite. And I'm really excited to see how he looks in the yard this year.
Hey Haunters, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, and even hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell if you're into that kind of thing. If you didn't like the video, don't tell me because it'll hurt my feelings, okay? Thanks, and happy haunting.